Hi everyone, it's Kay Kalthoff. Welcome to a Stampin' Chat with Kay. It's Monday, March 11th, and we're going to do a couple of cards today using the All Adorned stamp set, which is one of our second release celebration items. Thank you everyone for joining me. Oh my goodness, we've got quite a few jumping on here. Thank you so much. We are going to do a giveaway. That will be on Wednesday, and I'm going to give away a half pack of our Happiness Blooms enamel dots because we're using the enamel dots on both cards today. And I have so much to be happy about. First of all, I spent the morning with my daughter, who is home just for one day on spring break, and so we did some errands, and then we went out for lunch and had some coffee, and now I've just seen her off. She's going to be jumping on a plane and going to Phoenix, and so she's got a lot of excitement ahead of her. She is a senior in college and getting her nursing degree, and so she's never been on a spring break before, so it's her very first one, so she had to do it while she was a senior. She was going to miss out on doing that, you know, proverbial spring break while you're still in college. And they picked Phoenix because they got a really good deal on a home there. You know how people rent out their homes. I don't know how I'd feel about renting my home to a bunch of college students, but apparently this family that's going to be renting them their home, it's all just fine and dandy, and they're going to go to a couple of baseball games down there and do some hiking. So they're really, really excited, and I'm excited for them. She's going with her roommates and a couple of guys that are tagging along with them. So should be a fun time. And so anyway, I kind of created these cards on the fly. We had a really busy weekend, and I'm just so excited to share with you some things I got in the mail because I haven't been on here. I didn't go on Friday. I will not be on this coming Friday, nor will I be on the following Friday. There's just a lot going on in my life right now. We've got Spring Fling coming up, which is an event I do with my downline, and there is a lot of prep work. We have around 120 attendees, and so there's just a lot to do. And so I have to take some time away from my regular business in order to focus on that. So my next Facebook Live will not be until next week on Monday. So that's it. I guess I'm going to flip the camera down and start sharing with you some things that I got in the mail, something that I made over the weekend that I think is just really fun. I decorated another tea tin, truth be told. I love doing that. It's so much fun. So let me flip the camera down and we'll get started. All right, so let me show you the tea tin first. This is something I did because I knew I was going to be snowbound this weekend, and so I went to the tea shop and got some bulk Earl Grey white tip tea, and then I had an extra tea tin just sitting around at home, and so I went ahead and I covered it with some Specialty Designer Series paper. I can't think of the name of it now. I think it's part of the Broadway. What is it? I can't remember, but it's in our annual catalog, and it's with the stamp set. It has something like Broadway Lights or something like that. So anyway, since it's Earl Grey white tip tea, I had to get a paper that was basically gray, and then of course with all these little white strands going through it, it was perfect. And then I had some washi tape. You know, everybody has washi tape if you're a crafter. So I grabbed some washi tape. I'm sure it's long retired, but I just grabbed some and just wrapped it around the top of the tea, and it looks like this. And it just works perfect for my bulk Earl Grey white tip tea. And I just love the fun little bow that I created with our Whisper White cotton ribbon. It's just so soft and fluffy. It looks so pretty on my shelf with all my other tea tins. So that's something I did, a little home project I did this weekend. And then let me share with you what I got in the mail. Oh my gosh. So first of all, I got this card, a nice, simple, sweet, easy to recreate card from my downline member, Tammy Nelson. And she actually submitted this as a challenge card, which I had submitted to my downline, and she mailed her challenge card to me and told me to keep it. But it's super cute, and there's actually texture on this. This is not going to show up probably real well on photos, but it shows up great in person. She took the the Happiness Blooms enamel dots, and she went ahead and she put one little green enamel dot on wherever there was a green section on the card, she added a green enamel dot. And it's just so cute in real life. I just love it. It adds so much fun to this card. And then I got a second card from Tammy Nelson, again, my downline member from Mankato. And she also sent me this card. This is a Home to Roost card. So both of these are celebration cards. This uses the Happiness Blooms Designer Series paper pack, which is not celebration, but how fun for that. So this is the part of my story celebration stamp set. And then this is the Home to Roost stamp set. And it uses the botanical butterfly here to kind of separate the Poppy Parade from the Bermuda Bay. And it's just so pretty. And she used Stampin' blends just to color it real easy, just real easy coloring. In fact, I'll hold it up. I know a lot of you have questions about how to color that rooster. And this is just such a pretty and easy card to make. All right, so those were two things I got in the mail. Then one of my customers sent me this card. Oh my gosh, is this not gorgeous, you guys? This is from the stamp set called Humming Along. And she also used some glitter enamel dots. She put 3 of them on here. And it is such a pretty card. And it also comes, of course, with some framelits. And there's kind of a background framelit. And then she did use Stampin' blends to color this. And there's even a framelit to cut out the hummingbird. And it's so gorgeous. I just love it. So I'm going to hold this also up a little closer to the camera so you can see the detail on it. It is just fantastic. So thank you so much, Elaine Wheeler, one of my wonderful customers who just sent this as a Just Because card. And I love it. Thank you. And then I had a really big surprise in the mail. I went out to my mailbox on Saturday, not really expecting any mail, anything special. And then look at what happens. I get this card from one of my fans. Thank you, Elaine Hicks. Elaine Hicks mailed this card to me, but she didn't only mail the card to me. She mailed another special thing because this was in a box. So first I want to show you the card. So she has a lemon stamp here, and then she even added a little bit of that plastic netting that comes with the lemons when you buy them at the grocery store. So I thought that was really clever. It says, "You make my world a beautiful place." And then on the inside, she told me how much she enjoys my Facebook Lives, and it was just so sweet. But in addition to this lovely card that she mailed to me, look at this. She also sent me decorated Easter eggs. I about fell out of my chair when I opened up that box and saw these. They are so beautiful. So what she did is she took some white Easter eggs. See, they're just plain white. And then she decorated them with alcohol inks. Now, I don't know how to do this. I'm sure you can find instructions online or Google it or something. But she used alcohol inks to create these beautiful marbleized eggs. So we have a purple one, and a green one, and a yellow, a blue, an orange, a red. And when I was showing my family this, my daughters were just going nuts over this pink one because it's not only pink, but it has these blue sections in it that is just so striking and fun. So these are just really, really fun. So anyway, thank you so much, Elaine. I'm sure I will keep these eggs forever. I will bring them out at every Easter, and I will always think of you. And I even had the most beautiful little relish tray to keep them in for display. This belonged to my great-grandmother, and it's just so fun to be able to bring this out, and these eggs just fit perfectly on it. So this just lights up my day. Thank you again, Elaine Hicks, for that lovely gift. Okay, now we're going to move on to the cards we're making today. So the stamp set we're using is called All Adorned, and it looks like that, and it's in our second celebration release. And so when I first saw this, I knew there was going to be a lot of potential with this because these things all can be kind of interlocked to make really pretty cards. So the first card that we are using we are making is this one right here. And I am going to be using, of course, this to me looks so March-like because of the bright green, and I always think of this Call Me Clover green as such a great color for making cards in March. And so this is the Happiness Blooms Designer Series paper, and there's just lots of fun paper pieces in this pack. And then, of course, we're using this one back here that's just so pretty. And we are also using some Berry Burst ribbon. It's our silver edged Berry Burst ribbon. So we will be using that on this card as well. And then the second card that we're making, I should show you the inside. Isn't that pretty? The second card that we're making is this one. And it also uses Berry Burst, and it uses Call Me Clover and Night of Navy. And it's so pretty. So as you can see, both of these cards are using our Happiness Blooms enamels. And if you would like to be in the drawing to get the enamels, I'll give away a half pack. I'll do 2 drawings, so each person will get a half pack of these pretty enamels. So all you have to do is comment, let me know where you're from, share, or you can share this and let me know that you've shared on your Facebook timeline. It's just great. It helps me out tremendously, helps me find new customers sometimes, so I really appreciate it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The first one that we're going to make is this card here. It's a real easy card, and you don't need anything special, just your stamps and ink. We're not even using the Big Shot on this, although you could use the Big Shot on this because I think this is a rectangular shape, so you could have made this to work with our new stitched rectangles, but we're going to save that for the next card that we're making. So we're going to start out, let me get this all out of the way here. We're going to start out with a 4 1/4 by 11 inch piece of Night of Navy paper, and then I've scored it at 5 1/2. And our inside panel, which we're just going to do the inside panel first and get that done, we have a 3/4 inch by 4 inch panel of the Happiness Blooms Designer Series paper. And I'm just going to take some multi-purpose liquid glue, and we're just going to slide that into place. We were hoping we could use this glue. Let me just make sure it's open here. And we'll try it again. Well, that is so weird that it's not coming out. I had checked this glue earlier today and it was working just fine, so I don't know what's going on. It's just kind of odd. Hold on. All right, I think we got it going. I did get some out, so we'll be okay. All right, so let's flip this over and put this down. What of course I like about glue is you can kind of wiggle it into place and get it just perfect there on this edge. And now we're going to do our stamping. So we're going to bring in a Stampin' Pierce mat, and we're also going to bring in a little bit of scrap paper because a little of this is probably going to go off the edge. And again, this is a Whisper White panel, 4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to take our Call Me Clover ink, open that up, and we are going to just get our which one is this here? I don't know what to call these because they're all different little shapes, but we're going to use the one that's a little bit more bold, and that's going to be Call Me Clover. And then we're also going to use Night of Navy ink, and that one is going to be this corner panel right here. So let me ink the corner panel up first with our Night of Navy ink. And then we're going to stamp that in the corner. So I'm going to bring this over so I can see what I'm doing. And it's a little hard because I can't put my head directly over the top of it, but I think that's pretty good. Then we'll take the Call Me Clover, and with the bolder of these 2 different patterns here that are circular, we're just going to put one little bit here, So you can see most of it's being stamped off, and one little bit over here, just like this. And so the inside panel is complete, so I can take some snail, just run that across the top, and then we'll put that on the inside of our card. So we're going to open this up and set this right in here. And the reason I put this in the upper right corner is because I'm echoing something that's going to be going on the front of the card. So let me show you what the front of the card is again. Looks like this. So we have that same corner panel thing going on the front of our card as well as the inside panel. So now we're going to work on the front of our card here. So we have a piece of 2 5/8 by 3.5 inch piece of Whisper White paper, and we're going to do kind of that same stamping that we did on our inside panel. We're just going to grab the Night of Navy ink, and we're going to ink up that corner panel. And then we're going to flip that over, and I'm going to pull this a little closer so I can see what I'm doing. So it may go out of the picture, but I need to just see what I'm doing because I want to ink this up so that it actually is going here right in the corner. Oh my goodness, that turned out perfect. I'm so excited. I think that's the best one I've done all day. Hooray! And it was on video. Oh goodness. And then we're going to take the Call Me Clover, and we're just going to use that same stamp that we used before, and we're going to set this in right like that. So it looks like that, and then we're going to do the same thing over here. Beautiful. Isn't it gorgeous? Then all we need to do now is grab our sentiment. Let's see, what did I do with that? I'm not seeing it at my table. Hold on a second, maybe it's still across the room. Yep, I'll be right back. I don't even know if I'd need to tell you guys that I was leaving my desk because I can just do it so quick. I can get back in a flash. So now we're going to take our Berry Burst and we're going to ink up the sentiment. And we're going to stamp this. Oh, it looks really messy. I hope I don't mess this up. We're going to stamp it right here. Give that a second for the ink to settle in. And there it is. And it's so pretty. Okay, then we're going to flip this over and we're going to take some snail. And we're going to add a little snail to this, and we're going to set this onto a panel that's 1/8 inch larger than our Whisper White panel. So this is going to be 2 3/4 by 3 5/8. So that's the measurements you need to know for that. Then we'll take this, and we're just going to grab those edges, make sure, then eyeball kind of these two spots to make sure those are even, and everything looks great. So there we have our completed panel for the front of our card. Now the rest of it, this all goes together so fast. So we're going to take a panel of Night of Navy. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And then we're going to layer some Happiness Blooms Designer Series paper over the top of this. That's 2.5 inches by 4 inches. I'm going to try the glue again. Oh my gosh, I just do not know why this glue is being so fussy. It really is odd. It's almost like it got frozen. I wonder if it did, because this is brand new glue, and it's almost acting, you know, it's just puffing up at the bottom, and I think I may need to unthaw it a little bit. I don't know. This is weird. I've never had a glue do that to me. So I think we're going to stick with snail today. That is so odd. But I did have a couple of orders delivered when it was like 13 below zero, and they sat outside for a while. So I'm wondering if something weird happened to my glue. I'm going to have to check some of my other glues and make sure it's not everything. All right, so we're going to set this on to our panel of Night of Navy. And you're just going to put that flush to the left side. And then we're going to take our ribbon and we are going to, actually, you know what? We're not going to take our ribbon yet. We're going to actually adhere this first. So let me grab the snail again. Thank goodness I have backup adhesive. There we go. And then what you're going to do is you're going to set this so that it's giving you the same amount of space up here in the upper left and the right side. Or the upper right and the right side. Not upper left, upper right. So when those two look about even, that's where you want this panel to go. Then you're going to take your ribbon and you're going to cut it just a little bit bigger than this panel right here. And then we can just tape that down. So let me grab my Scotch tape. And I'm actually going to line this ribbon up so that it's flush with the edge of our sentiment panel. And so we'll just bring that around and secure that. There we go. Okay, and now we just do the bow. So we're going to again take the silver edged berry burst ribbon. So you guys remember that this berry burst, this is an in color from 2017-19, which means we're losing it this spring. So if you happen to have this berry burst ink pad and you don't have the ink refill yet, I would get that ink refill before too long. Because once that goes on the Stampin' Up! Retirement list, those ink refills just don't stick around. They just disappear like practically overnight. So I strongly encourage you to check your supplies and make sure you have your ink refill. And then any other items that you want to get that coordinate with that ink. Perhaps another batch of paper, maybe some of this ribbon. Then what we're going to do is take this ribbon and we're just going to adhere it with one of our mini glue dots. And we're going to set this right here. Is that not cute? Oh my gosh. And then the crowning touch, of course, is we're going to grab our, whoops. I dropped it on the floor and it really rolled. We are going to grab our, what is this? Our Take Your Pick tool. And we're just going to take a few of these off. So I'm just going to grab a Night of Navy one. We'll just pop that in right there. Then we'll grab a green one. Pop that in about right there. And then we'll also grab a little pink one. And there we go. So that just adds such a cute little touch. Then we can go ahead and we'll, well, I would grab glue, but since my glue is on the fritz, I'll grab some snail here. And then we'll put this onto the front of our card panel. And we will be ready to roll. And we'll have our first card complete. There it is. Isn't it beautiful? Don't you guys want to win that? I sure would if I was watching me. So the way to get in the drawing is to go ahead and leave a comment, tell me what you like about the card, or tell me where you're watching from, or you can share this video on your timeline. But it's so pretty and easy, you guys. Now the next card that we're going to make is even more fun, if you can believe it, because I'm going to show you how you can just kind of freeform stamp with this amazing stamp set called All Adorned. But we are going to need a couple of things cut out with the Big Shot, and I am using, let me grab it here, and I don't have all of them in here. I've got a couple in the other room where I'm working on some Spring Fling projects, and I've got a couple on the Big Shot already. But these are our stitched rectangles, and you can find those in our Occasions catalog. And oh my goodness, I love them. You can get them as a bundle with the Incredible Like You? Or the Amazing You? Or I can't remember, but you can get it as a bundle, or you can just get them by themselves. but I love these, and you can find them in our occasions catalog. And so let's go ahead and make the card here. So we are going to do a little stamping right off the bat. So I have a scrap of Whisper White, and we are going to stamp our sentiment on that. So let me grab the Stampin' Pierce mat, and we're going to ink the sentiment up again with Berry Burst. We're sticking with the same color scheme here. So we've got Berry Burst, perfect. And then we've got another scrap of Whisper White that we're going to put this framelit around. And then we're just going to go to the Big Shot machine and get all of these things cut out. So to do that, I'm going to bring the Big Shot into the picture here. And what I'm going to do is show you how I set this up. So I did purchase the magnetic platform. I have my cut plate. Then I'm going to put on my scrap of Whisper White that's a little bit bigger, because we just want one to cut out so we can stamp on it. And then we've got our sentiment here, and with the sentiment I picked a framelit that was just a little bit bigger than the sentiment, but I want to make sure, I'll show you the card one more time, you want to be sure that when you're cutting out the sentiment you get it more to the left hand side, and so that's what I'm doing here. I have it set up more to the left, you might notice. Okay, then we're going to run this through the Big Shot machine. So we'll add our plate to the top and run that through. And you'll notice all of my rectangular framelits are set a little bit at an angle. And the reason I do that is you don't get that loud cracking noise, and it's not as hard on your framelits. So we'll bring that through. And here is our sentiment panel, and we're going to be trimming that off here to the left. We'll do that after we put it on our card. And then here's our panel that we're actually going to do all of our stamping on. All right, so that's all we needed the Big Shot for today. So let me put that out of the way. And we'll get some stamping things back in the picture here. So we will need this because we're going to be stamping off. And then we're going to take that framelit cutout that we were working with. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to need to clean our stamp that we were using, because remember this one that we were using, it was in green. Now we want that to be in Night of Navy. So I've got my chamois here. I just keep it in an old stamp, a Claremont stamp case, and I wash it out once or twice a week depending on how often I'm stamping, but it works great. And so that's all there is to it. It's all clean. And then we're gonna ink that up with Night of Navy ink. So I've got my Night of Navy here, and this is the first one that we're going to be stamping with. So we'll ink that up, and we're gonna stamp it so that we're kind of tucked up here in the upper left corner. So there's the first one. And then you're just gonna, you see where this little dot is? I'm just looking at that dot, and I'm gonna put the other dot just kind of right next to it, like that. So you can see how that looks all pretty. And then we're going to look for the dot again. So there's a dot right here. And then of course, kind of a corresponding dot. So I'm just gonna make sure these two dots are sort of right next to each other, but that kind of is a visual to help me know where to stamp. And it works really well, because then you can make sure everything is evenly spaced. And so again, we're just looking at that dot, and I'm going to bring it in, and look at that. So everything is really pretty and evenly spaced, and all I did was kind of go dot to dot, dot to dot, dot to dot. So these stamps, even though they look sort of complicated, like they could be hard to use, they really aren't, because there's some guidelines for you to use them with. So now we are going to take this stamp, which is one that we're going to overstamp over the top of this Night of Navy. And we're going to overstamp that in Call Me Clover. So we're going to ink that up with Call Me Clover. And Whoops, and now I got my thumb into the ink pad, so I have to make sure I wipe that off. Because we don't, you know what, I'll show you what I do. When I get my fingers in the ink, I just take my little simple chamois here and I just rub it on the back side where I don't typically clean my stamps. And that way I can take off any ink on my finger. It's kind of got a little bit of a coarse texture, so it works pretty good. Okay, so we're going to ink this up again. I'm going to keep my thumb away from the ink pad this time. And we're going to bring this in. And I hope I don't have to take this out of the picture too much, but I have to bring it a little closer so I can see what I'm doing. So we're going to bring that in. And that looks pretty good. And we're going to do that one more time. It's a little hard to do this again with the video because it's kind of hard to see where I'm going with it. I'm going to have to move it. Maybe if I stand up. This is really a lot easier when I don't have the video camera right in my way. Well, that one was a little off. Shoot. Let's try this one. Here we go. This one I could see better. And then one more. There we go. So we got that all stamped. Looks pretty good. And then we're going to take the other color here, Berry Burst, add in a little Berry Burst. So there's a little tiny round stamp, and we're just going to kind of put this like right there. So we're just going to set those in like so. Just like that. It looks so pretty. I think we can put another one over here and anywhere else. Nope, I think this is good. That looks so cute, doesn't it? Just that little burst of berry through there. Then we're going to put this onto the front panel of our card. Well, actually, no, we're not. We're going to do our inside panel. Well, we've got all these inks out. So I've got a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of Whisper White. And we are going to take that stamp that I was using with the Night of Navy and stamp that over here in the corner like that, and then we're going to over stamp it with the green. Pretty. And then we're going to take the little Berry Burst, just add a little Berry Burst here in the corner. And so that's our inside panel, and that is done, and it looks so sweet. So we can go ahead and put that into our card. Our card base is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Just gonna open that up, and we're gonna add a little snail. Keep it nice and loose and elegant. Set this in right here. Doesn't that look nice? There we go. So that's the inside panel. The outside panel is almost done, you guys. This is actually going to be kind of a shorter video for a change. So we have a 3 1/8 inch by 4 1/2 inch piece of Berry Burst. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer this panel on top of that. And so again, we're just going to go ahead and grab the snail, set this in, make sure all those corners, you're just looking at those two corners, and if you've got that done, it's done. If those look good, everything else will line up as well. Then we're going to add a little more snail here and set this in, and it looks really nice. That looks beautiful. So just layer that in so all 4 borders are nice and even. Then we have this little section right here, and we are going to put that on with dimensionals. But before I do that, I want to make sure that I trim that up first. So I'm going to set this in about where I think it needs to be trimmed. And that looks pretty good. So to trim it, all you have to do is flip it over. Whoops, if I can get it lined up here just right. So flip it over, take your scissors. This is kind of an old-fashioned way of doing it here, but it works pretty good. So just trim that even with your edge, and then you're going to take dimensionals and lift that away from your main card. Little bit of lift. There we go. So then we can pull this away, and we're going to set this in so that it's nice and even with the edge of our card. Let me see, I'm going to grab this so that we can see exactly what we're doing here. There we go. And then our crowning touch to making this card look absolutely perfect is we're going to grab those jewels again. This is so much fun to add these jewels. So we have our take your pick tool, and we're just going to pull away a little green one, and then I think maybe a blue one. Set that right there, and then a bright pink one for down here in the corner. And there it is. Our card is complete. Isn't that beautiful, you guys? So here's the two that we just made, and then the other two that we did in a little bit in advance of this video right here, just as we got started. Isn't that beautiful? So if you enjoyed these cards and you enjoyed this video, be sure to give me some hearts or some thumbs up, and also be sure to tell me which card you like the best. I'd love to know, because of course 2 of you will win a half pack of the beautiful jewels that I'll be giving away on Wednesday. And I'd love to know which card I should be sending to you. So it's always kind of fun too to see which card people like the best. So you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.